Thank you so much, Frank. I love being here. CFER feels like family to me. It's great to be back this year. I have to give a shout out to Wenyan Wu because she's not here. We know she's here, that she's watching and listening, and that if not for her, this day wouldn't be made possible. So I want to give her a huge shout out. I really miss her and can't wait to see her. I appreciate the groundwork that Nikki set for me, for us, for Cal Policy Center. The unions are the #1 enemy. If you guys have heard Mike Pompeo, our former Secretary of State, if you ask him the #1 enemy, you might think he'll say Iran, China, Russia, but what does he say? He says unions. And I've heard him say it more than once in person. So that is our biggest fight. But I heard today that we are not the minority, and we're not. Even though we may be quiet and we're not loud like the other side, we are the majority. And that's why we do win elections when we try and we work hard. So I'm very optimistic that we will prevail. Let's see. The first slide, culture isn't changed in 90 days. And basically, the union is working every day with bad money against everything we believe in. The union funds Governor Newsom. The union funds the legislatures. All those ugly bills, that's union dollars. There's nothing more important right now than to defund the union. Our board members who are fighting right now to pass good policy, which we've seen now in Chino Valley. 2 nights ago, we saw it in Murrieta. The union is backing the opposition. That's what we are fighting at every board meeting, is union dollars. You want me to do it? You want this one? Okay. All right, so California Teachers Association, better known to us as the CTA, 310,000 members, approximately $900,000 a year. That's a lot of money. 1 quarter, they raised $69 million. Just for some perspective, DeSantis and Trump raised less than that combined, about $15 million less than that combined. That's the kind of money that we are fighting every day. Teacher opt-out. So if they opt out, we'll round it to $1,000. They get that money. That is often the biggest incentive to a teachers union member, is they get $1,000 a year back. So I guess when we talk about the $1,000 a year back, what it says is it's not always political. Sometimes it's just strictly money. And if you talk to people that you know in the teachers unions and you tell them $1,000 a month, you know what you can do with that? If you put that away, you put it in a 529A account, something like that for your own child. But if you give that money to a local union, they're giving it to a lot more people than your child. They're giving scholarships and other things to children that don't have your values. Teachers opting out, they're not alone. A lot of teachers think they're alone. They think that if they opt out, it's a very scary thing because nobody else in their district believes like they do. That's not the truth either. Again, they think they're this strong minority and they're not. They may not be the majority, but they've got friends in that teacher's lounge and they need to find them, because it's always less scary if you want to leave the union if you find friends to do it with. There's groups that have a lot more strength than single individuals. You'll see some single individuals are very strong and they can take the intimidation, but for a woman, perhaps even a guy on their own, when you've got these union people telling you lies, it's a pretty scary thing. So since the Janus decision, we are in California. We are the home of opt-outs. We've had more than anywhere else. Almost 30% of the government employees have opted out of unions. Unfortunately, our teachers aren't at that level. So that's what we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of people in this room that if they don't deal directly with teachers, they know people who know teachers, and we are the best people to really work on that class of people. And it's a difficult class. And there are different reasons that it is a more difficult class. Here are some of the reasons that teachers don't opt out. Lack of knowledge. I've had teachers tell me they can't get out of the union. They don't even know about Janus. And I think everyone in this room, because we're educated activists, we all know that Janus exists. We know in 2018, teachers had the right to leave the union, but there's some teachers out there, believe it or not, that have no idea. I've had parents say, oh yeah, my daughter's in the union and she can't get out. I said, really? Call me. She can definitely get out. Intimidation, that's huge. And that's why I always say, find a friend, find other teachers on campus. They exist. I can tell you as a school board member, I visit campuses on Dr. Seuss' birthday week. I go and I speak in classrooms, and I go in there and teachers hug me and they thank me for my work. There are teachers on our side and multiple teachers. I'll speak in 5 classes and all 5 teachers will hug me. Now, the administration knows what classes to send me to, obviously, but they're there. They're definitely there. High pay. The higher paid the teacher is, the less likely they're to opt out of the union because they have that extra $1,000 a month. They don't care. So the higher paid teachers, we have to work a little harder because they might have that disposable cash and it may not affect their level of living. Insurance provider, they will tell you that that's their insurance provider. They need that insurance. That is a lie. That is not true. They don't need that insurance. We have at least 3 other organizations that provide that insurance and better insurance for 25% of the cost. And they'll actually protect teachers regardless of whether they agree with them. The union doesn't always protect their teachers if they don't agree with them. Close-knit community, you know, teachers, they want to be friends. They want the other teachers to like them, but we have to remember what's important and we have to talk to those teachers. Organized locals, a lot of their unions, they're very strong, especially their local unions. A lot of you guys know Rebecca Friedrichs, and she'll tell me the local unions are okay. They're the friendly people. So we have to keep that in mind, but their money is going towards horrible bills. They have regular strikes to build their strength. And number one, I think, is they lie to their members. They lie to their members about a lot of things. And so that's why we have to get in there and we have to tell them the truth. How do you encourage teachers to opt out? So first and foremost, you build trust, and it's not easy. The average encounter with a teacher takes at least 5 visits with that teacher, but you have to build that trusting relationship. And remember, you have to be patient. You can't just give up when they say, no, I'm not going to do it. It's a very big decision in their life. They've been in the union for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Their parents were in the union. They have to understand that the union today is much different than their parents or their grandparents' union. Back then, unions actually did good things. They were developed for good reasons. Today, that's not always the case. Be prepared to answer their comment, their objections calmly, you know, understand, have the answers. Come talk to any of us at Cal Policy Center. We have excellent information. We have a table out there today, so you don't have to remember any of this. Write it down, take pictures. I'll send it to you if you want it, but we have great information that gives you all this information on our table out there. Provide helpful alternatives to their scholarships, the scholarships that teachers' kids might get that your kids aren't going to get. So have alternatives for that. Have alternatives for insurance. Do some homework before you meet with your teachers. Execution, most important. How do you get them to opt out? Download an opt-out letter. We have one on our website. I'm going to put on a QR code pretty soon. You guys can take a picture and do it. You can get some information from the table. It's very easy. We also have a website, My Pay, My Say. So be prepared to respond to the representative's objectives. Again, information that we can give you. I have information here. We have Janice, frequently asked questions and answers. We have what you need to know about rights. These are all aimed at teachers. We can give you this information. Be firm about opting out. And if they tell you you can't, contact us. Every time a teacher is told they can't opt out, which they are, they contact us. We help them. We write a letter. We talk to somebody. The next thing you know, it was a misunderstanding. Of course they can opt out, even though the union said they missed it because last Tuesday was the only time this year they could do it. Somehow they were confused when they reach out to us. So be sure that you reach out if we can help you. And document when you first ask to get out of the union. Document the responses. A good documentation is what will get you out of the union. Common objectives. This is what you'll hear. I will lose my job. That is the biggest lie of all. When I say the union lies, this is a huge lie. Membership has no bearing on their job, on their priority, on anything. That is an absolute lie. The union won't bargain for me. Another huge lie. The union has to bargain for you whether you pay your dues or not. That's part of the deal. If they want to collectively bargain, they bargain for everyone, no matter whether they pay dues. Now, you may have some people in maybe the teacher's lounge that don't like you, and they'll call you a freeloader because you're not paying the dues they are, and you're getting bargained for. And I would just say, tell them they should get out too, and they'd have more money in the bank and they'd still be bargained for. Yeah. I will lose my liability insurance. That actually might be true, but you know what? We'll get you better liability insurance. There's 3 organizations and there's probably more. Here's 3 right here. You guys have probably heard of some of these: AAE, CEA, and the American Public Servants Association. So these are all organizations that will provide the same or better insurance for a fraction of the cost, and you will be covered. Here is your QR code. If anybody wants to take a picture of it and check it out, you can get the opt-out letter right here. If you don't want to take a picture, you can go on My Pay My Say, go to CaliforniaPolicyCenter.org, Mary at CalPolicyCenter.org. Lance is here somewhere. Lance at CalPolicyCenter.org. Lance, do you guys know Lance Christensen? Who here doesn't know Lance? Yeah, I don't think there's a person in the room that doesn't know Lance. He's amazing. Lance is Vice President of Cal Policy Center, Education Affairs, Government Issues, and there's nobody smarter than Lance Christensen. Maybe some people equally as smart, but nobody's smarter. So, see any of us, we also have, I don't know if are Rebecca and Sheridan in the room? Rebecca's in the back. She's the beautiful lady in the navy dress. And Sheridan is somewhere here as well. She does research and is amazing. There's Sheridan in the beautiful green dress in the back. So you can reach out to any of us, our table, if you want any information. I want to thank you. There's my email. Email is super easy. Just remember calpolicycenter.org. Put Mary in front of it, put Lance in front of it, put Rebecca, Sheridan, put any name in front of it. You'll probably get one of us. Well, you can just try anything and you'll probably get one of us. We're always happy to help. I think some of you guys know that I'm actually, I think Frank mentioned, I'm the CLEO director, California Local Elected Officials. It really ties in well with Janice because what we do on that side is we train candidates. We have great governance programs here. We have a new candidate academy. And this is so important because we want candidates that don't buy into the union. And that's what we need on these school boards. The unions are running them. If we can get more candidates to run and get more majorities on school boards, we can get rid of the harm to our children and the harm to education. So we have this great book. If you go to register as a candidate, the ROV, the Registrar of Voters, will give you like a book that's about 120 pages. Ours is 40, has better information. So I encourage you, you can download it yourself or you can ask us and we'll mail you a copy. We also have the Leadership Academy. This has the endorsement. I'm sure a lot of you know Pete Peterson at the Pepperdine School of Public Policy. He helped us work on it and has endorsed it. And it's just a great governance book. So once you get elected, you don't forget why you were elected and you don't fall prey to big government and things that you didn't want to do originally. So we have tons of resources. We also have our annual report. You can take a look at that. We're doing great work. We also have a parent union, and that's the part. There's 3 prongs. There's Janice, which I just spoke about. There's CLEO, and then there's the parent union. And the parent union really helps coalesce parents to fight at school board meetings, kind of like Nikki talked about. So there are 3 important, and we find they all overlap because those parents that join the parent union, they decide to run for office. And those people that are running for office are fighting the union. So it really all works together. But just keep in mind, the union is the enemy and we have to do everything in our power to defund the union. And if there's any way that I or any of my colleagues at California Policy Center can help you do that, we'd love to do that. And we love CFER. We love working with CFER. We consider them family and just a great organization to collaborate with. So I'm grateful to CFER for all the work you do and the work we do together.
Any questions for Mary? Roger, you're a teacher.
Yes, I am a teacher. I guess I could say it like this way. I was oppressed by the union for 20 years and had to pay union dues. And in 2018, when Janice ruled in June, I was on my vacation. I got the email that happened. I immediately wrote a letter to get me out of it, and I sent it to the district office, HR, the union president, everything. And it took them a week to respond. And I got a response. You're out of the union and we've worked it out with payroll. You don't have to pay anything. So I took my form letter, gave it to the Republican Party in San Diego, and they spread it all up and down. And so I had several colleagues I gave it to, and all of a sudden, lots of people were out of the union. And we did it before the union or unions across California had enough time to develop rules so that you couldn't get out of it that easily. But I have to say that everything that you presented up there is all true. There's one thing, the reason that I got out and many of us teachers want to get out is because they're supporting beliefs that we don't support. And even though it's a small fraction, they'll say it's only this amount of dollars. It still is supporting something that we don't believe. And that's probably the number one reason why teachers are upset with it. It's everything else that they offer. It is what it is. But I've been out of it since then and I haven't really noticed any difference. I mean, you always advocate for yourself anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that.
Hi, Jim Fabizak, Coronado. Thank you for your time. My question is related to school board meetings and addressing the unions. So Coronado is probably not different than most places. We have a ACT rep who has a wonderful 5-minute presentation, very well rehearsed, song and dance, laughter, and then she goes about her business as a teacher in the school district. My question is, how do we address that? Do we address that during a school board meeting? What's the most effective way for us as parents to address the union at a school board meeting? Or is what you presented more a word of mouth type of presentation?
As far as getting teachers out of the union,
You know, making them aware of what's going on and also providing a counter message to what the union rep spouts out every 30 days.
I mean, there's different ways to go about it. Of course, word of mouth and talking to people and spreading the knowledge is important, but there's nothing wrong either with speaking publicly at public meetings. And one thing I love about that is it's on the record and a lot of people, even if they don't show up at a meeting, you might go to a meeting and there's 20, 30 or 100, you know, depending on our subject, we usually get 50 to 200 depending on what's going on, but we know there's thousands watching live on YouTube. And so any comments that you make are heard by thousands of people. And over time, you know, when somebody says, oh, did you listen to were you at the County Board of Education? They talked about this, and more people get on and listen. And so I think it's important in the 3 minutes they give you or whatever it might be, given the topic, to speak about that. And under general comments, you can speak about anything. And I always encourage people to remind the trustees actually who votes for them and who puts them in those seats. And it's not the union, you know, even though the union is telling them what to do, it's the people like you, the people in the audience, they're actually electing them. And they really need to be listening to the people that elect them, not the union money that's out there. And I think if we can stop that and stop the trustees thinking that the union is their friend and the union is why they get elected. People say, oh, you know, if I make the right decision, you know, or the wrong decision, the union will take me out. And I've been at meetings I see we'll remember in November, which means if a trustee doesn't vote the way the union wants, they'll take them out in November. And I've seen a couple taken out, but by and large, they won't be taken out when they do the right thing. You know, when I first ran, somebody says, oh, if you approve charter schools, you'll be taken out. And I said, well, then I'll be a one-term board member. My first election as taking out an incumbent, I won by 5 points. My second election, I won by 27, and I approved 6 new charter schools. So I think the people are behind us, and we have to remember that. Yes, Lance.
Sorry, this is my shameless plug. Isn't Mary awesome?
Yeah.
She's one of the most courageous people in California, and she was president of the board of Orange County Board of Education for a while, and really moved the needle. One of the things we're trying to do too is start an alternative organization to CSBA, the California School Board Association. So that's coming. We're going to call it the California Association of School Trustees, to be an alternative that doesn't cost you tens of thousands of dollars and brings the board the resources necessary to be successful when they win elections. And so we hope you follow us for that. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary.